flames, the cows took refuge in a grove of sharp canes. When cowherd boys missed their animals, they went searching for them, following their hoof prints and the trail of blades of grass and other plants they had trampled or had broken with their teeth. Finally, the boys found the cows and removed them from the cane forest. But by that time, the forest fire had grown strong and was threatening both the boys and the cows. Thus, the cowherd boys took shelter of Śrī Krishna, the master of all mystic power, who told them to close their eyes. They did so, and in a moment he had swallowed up the fierce forest fire and brought them all back to the Bandira tree mentioned in the last chapter. Seeing this wonderful display of mystic potency, the cowherd boys thought Krishna must be a demigod, and they began to praise him. Then they all returned home. So in the last chapter, we read that the Bandira tree is a banyan tree, big banyan tree. Back to Roji.
Hare Krishna. We read the invocation prayers and everything. We've done that part.
Yeah, we did the invocation prayer already.
So, thank you everyone for joining. This is Canto 10, which is the face of the Supreme Lord, as Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is compared to the body of the Supreme Lord. The Canto 10, which is the biggest section with, I think, 70 plus chapters. 90 chapters actually. There are 90 chapters, 90 chapters, the biggest canto in the 12 cantos of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And we are at chapter 19. These are all the, Canto 10 includes all the pastimes of Lord Krishna primarily. In Vrajadham, which is Vrindavan, in Mathura, in Dwarka. So, but his childhood pastimes are most dear to the readers and to everyone. Although he's like a sugar doll, Bhagavatam is compared to like a sugar doll. Like, like dolls, like there in India, you might have seen this, there are sugar candies or sugar shapes, sugar dolls, whether you eat the feet or the mouth or the hand, it's a sugar doll. It's all sweet. But still, to the readers and Krishna devotees, this Canto 10 has lots and lots of wonderful stories. And to a untrained eye, it may seem to be just some fiction. Like consider the story of this chapter. What is the title of this chapter? Swallowing the forest fire. Like, just think about the title, swallowing the forest fire. Now, who can swallow the forest fire? Right? In California, in multiple states, there are forest fires. The government cannot do anything about it, right? It's pretty much beyond their control. All they do is pretty much wait for the rains. They cannot do anything about it and ask people to just evacuate. In Florida, the same happens with the hurricanes. They cannot do anything about it. Just ask people, just prep up and vacate if you are in the danger zone. But here we see Krishna in this chapter, how we'll read in more detail. Very, very interesting. And there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita which says, Avajananti mam mura manusham deham ashrita. When Krishna takes the human form, the unintelligent, those who do not have the eyes of devotion, cannot see these pastimes. Or it may seem like a fictional tale. But Krishna here is a small boy and doing this extraordinary act just to give pleasure to his devotees and also prove his divinity in multiple ways. But that's secondary reason. But the main reason is to protect his devotees and to give pleasure to them. So This is a very beautiful pastime. I guess we can now go in deeper details and read from text 1 onwards. Would someone is feeling inspired to read text 1?
Hare Krishna, I can. Hare Krishna devotees and Ratnam on wish to share text number. Śrī Sukha Uvacha Vidasa Itsu Gopeshu Tadgavo Dura Charina Swaram Charnam Vivisus Tana Lobena Ghavaram. Translation by disciples of his divine basis in the faith and the Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Sukadeva Goswami said, while the cowherd boys were completely absorbed in playing, their cows wandered far away. They hungered for more grass, and with no one to watch them, they entered a dense forest. So, as you monthly explained, this is a wonderful chapter where Krishna saves mother cows. Of course, this is a wonderful leela, and he saves the cowherd boys and the cows from this great forest. And there are many lessons, as you mentioned. And there are many pastimes. I think Raji, I'll let you add. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So Shukdev Goswami is speaking these verses, practically most of the Bhagavatam verses, to Parikshit Maharaj. And anyone knows where this conversation happened?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandar.
Hari Bol, please.
I first of all welcome Parivrajaka-charya. Shubhavilas going from. Can you hear me?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm a beggar wandering here there.
Okay. I'm so glad you're back. So in the Bhagavatam first and second canto, it says that he was on the banks of the Ganges. But if you go look at in the purport, Prabhupada says he was on the bank of the Yamuna. So he near Hastinapur. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So I'm going to share, take this opportunity as also to share some of the places I went to in India. And we went to this place called Shukratal, where Shukdev Goswami gave Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So if you're going from Delhi to Haridwar, there's a place called Muzaffarnagar. So there's a little detour to this place called Shukratal. This is the tree, the ancient tree, where people come and worship. You see Shukratal Ghat, that's what is written in Hindi. I'll expand it. Shukratal Ghat. There is Ganga river here, Mother Ganga, and this is the Shukratal. This is my mother tying thread. This is very beautiful, you see. All the sages are assembled here. These are the great, this is Shukdev Goswami's deity and Parikshit Maharaj is speaking Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami, I didn't know he was also in dark complexion. And then Raja Parikshit, the King Parikshit, hearing Bhagavatam. So this temple is there. Some other pictures. This tree is very sacred, so probably this has, I don't know the age of this tree, and we could not get that information, but it looked really very, very ancient and historic. You see, it's like spreading everywhere. This is the beautiful place, and next to that there was again, these are some other pictures from our, but these are, now we are in Haridwar, but those are some of the pictures I thought I'll share with you, since we're talking about Srila Shukadev Goswami. One very interesting thing which I, learned over there, that who was the person who cursed Parikshit Maharaj? He will die in 7 days.
Shringi, right, Prabhu?
Shringi, yes. The son of
Shamik Rishi.
Shamik Rishi. Yes. Right? And there was the deity, where all the sages were present, there was a deity of Shringi also. He was also present hearing Bhagavatam. And I was just reflecting, look at the glories of Parikshit Maharaj. He is hearing Bhagavatam with the very person who cursed him. Isn't that glorious? That is so glorious. If someone says anything to us, we, even like a bad word, let's say, we don't want to be around that person, right? Or we will just, we may say it's okay, but in the heart, it's not easy to forget. What to speak of to the extent they have given a curse that you'll die in 7 days. Now look at the glories of great Raj Rishi Parikshit Maharaj. He was hearing Bhagavatam next to that person. That was really remarkable, because Bhagavatam and the Bhagavatas, like Parikshit Maharaj, there's a book Bhagavatam and it's a person Bhagavatam who is the embodiment of book Bhagavatam, who are living the book Bhagavatam. That means they're living by the principles conveyed in the book Bhagavatam. And that the main principle is Anusuya, non-envious, to be non-envious. Lord Krishna also says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that be non-envious. So let's try to remember this verse, not very hard. Krida sakteshu gopeshu. Krida means to play. Asakta. Asakt means they were absorbed. In what? Absorbed in playing. Who all were absorbed? Gopeshu. All the gopas, all the cowherd boys, they were absorbed in playing, right? And what happened? Tad gavo dura charinihi. All the cows they wandered, dur chale gaye. They wandered far. To do what? Charana, go charana. So that means they wandered at a distance. Because the cowherd boys, they were busy in playing. And sometimes, we can relate to this as parents or as teachers. If you're absorbed in something, then the kids are, they wander somewhere else, right? If you don't pay them close attention, you realize, they are suddenly out of the room and they are just having a fun time and making chaos. Something like that. So the second line says, they went far. Swairam charyanto vishvus. Vivushus. Independently. Independently, they were doing what? They were grazing. So they entered far, they entered the, and why? Why did they go? Trina lobhena. Trina lobhena. This is a very important word. Trina means grass. Trinadapi sunichena, taroriva sahishnuna. We should be humble like a blade of grass. So trina means grass, a blade of grass. Gehevaram, deep. They went very deep inside. So this is also a very practical lesson, that we also wander far away from Krishna, far away from our master. Why? For trina lobhena. That trina, for cows, it's trina. For us, it could be car, it could be bangla, it could be money, it could be whatever, gadgets, fame, prestige, money, etc., etc. As a result, we go far, deep, dura. We go very far. And look at the words used. Swairam. Krishna is Atmaram. Self-satisfied, completely dependent. He's completely like Atmaram. He doesn't need anyone. Everyone needs him. But here the word uses independently. That's what happens to Jiva also. We have this desire to be independent, right? We have this desire to be attracted by the illusions and the allurements, lobha, kama, krodha, lobha, etc. Lust, anger, greed. The out of greed, lobha means out of greed. If we see the meaning here, again, greed could be of multiple things. So this is the meaning here, that Krishna bholi sei jeev anadir bahirmukh. We have run away from our master. We run away from Krishna in the greed of material things. And we will see what happens later, right? I mean, we just read the summary that there was a forest fire. And then we suffer in the fire of material world, ansara dava. So it's a very important lesson that we should not be allured by the greeds or the temptations of the material world and run deep, gehera, gehevaram, and forget our true goal. Forget why have we come, why have we attained this human form of life? Not for the strina, not to get more and more material accomplishments, not to get more and more name, fame, and recognition. That is not the goal of human form of life. So, very beautiful verse. Any other thoughts?
Yes, Prabhu, the word Gahivar one. I just wanted to add something with your permission and blessings. So it's that word in the verse, the last verse is Gahivar one. It means the dense forest. And there is also another place named Gahivar one in Vrindavan. It's near Varshana. And many years ago, the Gundas were going to cut the trees. And at that time, usually sadhus in Vrindavan were not so united. But when they decide the Gundas were coming, some sort of businessman, tycoon, that time they all got together and they stood by each and every tree. They embraced each and every tree and said, you cannot cut it unless you cut us. And within few days, they got court permission, and the Indian government gave permission that this forest cannot be cut. Back to you, Prabhu. The whole Vrindavan was Gahivar one, but at least right now, the Gahivar one that we know near Varsana remains very nicely. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful pastime. Okay, we can move on to the next verse, text number 2. Anyone would like to read? Shilpa Mataji, want to try? Or Nandani Mataji, anyone is in position to read?
Yes, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Ajagao mahishashta nirvishyanto vanadvanam ishi katavim nirvisheshu krudantyo davat tarshitaha. Translation and purport by disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Passing from one part of the great forest to another, the goats, cows, and buffalo eventually entered an area overgrown with sharp canes. The heat of a nearby forest fire made them thirsty, and they cried out in distress. Wow, I didn't know Krishna was also had goats and cows and buffaloes. Back to you, Prabhu. Please add. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa. Thank you, Mataji, for reading this beautiful verse. So Ajaha is goats, Gava, cows, buffaloes, Mahisha, that Mahishasur, the buffalo demon. So Mahisha. Cha means and. So when they entered from one forest to other, vanat vanam, from one to the other, what are they doing here? They're trying to get grasses, the greed of grasses, trina lobhena. And what happened? There was a dense, they were crying out, kridayanto, dava, tarshitaha. This is the davanal. Samsara davanala loka. So this davanal is basically the forest fire. This material world is also compared to forest fire. This is not a place for, this is not our real home. This is a temporary place. This is like basically a prison to help us to reform, to help us to come back to our true senses, to help us to come back to understand who we are, who our master is, what is the purpose of being here. And we are suffering. An honest person will certainly not deny this fact that we are suffering here, because that's the nature of this world. Suffering in the sense adibhautik, suffering because of one's own, other living entities, mosquito bites and, snake bites or neighbor issues, other living entities, manager troubling. Then adi atmik, one's own body and mind. There are a lot of mental disorders these days, stresses, depression, and so many mental issues. Then adi daivik, caused by natural disturbances, which are actually a mass reaction of our own karma, like hurricanes, tsunamis, floods, etc. And there are multiple types of other suffering which no one wants. Everyone has to go through it. And these are common to all, like disease. Anyone wants that? No one wants that. But still everyone gets that. Old age, no one wants, everyone gets it. So an intelligent person questions that, why is this happening? And then, like a child cries out. When the child is away from the parents, imagine like a big fair, like a big mela, where there are hundreds and thousands and tens and thousands of people, and the child is lost from his mother and the father, and the child does not know where to go. And the child is suffering, it's hot, it's chaotic, it's messy. What will the child do? Kridayanta. The child will cry. The child will call out for the mother, for the father. Oh, please help me. Basically, that's what we do. We cry in the chanting of the holy names. Krishna, you are my mother. You are my father. I'm lost in this material world. Samsara dava. I'm suffering here. The different types of heats, the different types of canes here mentioned as in this verse. The canes, the heat is torturing me day in, day out. And they were thirsty. We are also thirsty. Our thirst is basically tarshita. It comes, also referred to as mriga-trishna in the other places in the Bhagavatam. Mriga-trishna. Trishna, desires, tarsha, like thirst, or hunger. So in the material world, we are hungry for material things. But do they really satisfy our thirst? Do they really fill our belly or our heart or our, let's say we are thirsty for a new home. Let's say we are thirsty for a new car. Let's say we are thirsty for more money. I was in Dallas, Texas recently. His Grace Nityaṁ Prabhu, the temple president there, was giving a very nice class. American society, American materialistic society or something, American was giving this example that American society they have proven that beyond a certain dollar amount, there's that money, people think money is proportional to happiness, right? Majority of the people, 99% of the people have this equation in their mind. The more money, more happiness, right? Everyone agrees? The majority of the people believe in this model. The more the money, the more they'll be happy, right? Raghu Prabhu, that's what the majority of the people think, right? This is not ISKCON research. This is not Hare Kṛṣṇa people research. This is the research of American, society for like some financial stuff. I forgot the exact name. They are saying that it may be okay till a certain point. For example, if someone doesn't have food and is begging on the street, yes, money will help them to have a place to live. Money will help them to buy food or not be worried, will I get tonight's dinner or not? But beyond that, for someone it could be 70,000 annually, for someone it could be 80,000, for someone it could be 90,000. But beyond that, they have saying every dollar causes more misery. So in short, this Trishna, this thirst is not quenched by material things. And even if one gets to that point, which many people do, are then they the most happiest people? Is their thirst completely quenched? The answer is no. Rather, it keeps growing. Because, even if one is earning $1 million, then there is one who's earning $5 million. If someone is earning $5 million, then there is someone who's earning $1 billion. There is no end point. This is what is called material greed. It never leads to satisfaction. Contentment and gratitude are the real asset of a person. Contentment, humble, grateful heart. These are the real assets. We are not saying to not work, to not do job or business. Yes, we have to do the needful, but with a grateful, contempt, and humble heart. That's the real asset. That's real wealth. Otherwise, we will keep crying. We'll keep crying. We'll keep suffering. This davanal will not stop until we cry for Krishna. So rather than crying for material things, we should cry for Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada also says. Chanting is basically like a cry. So we have to cry in distress. That I'm suffering. Krishna, please help me. Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpati nanyam tvad abhayam pashi yatra mrityu pasparam. I'm caught up. Please help me. I need your help. Right? The more we cry, the more sincerely we cry, the more eagerly Krishna will hear and answer our prayers. Right? When the child cries, the child really means it. Right? The child really means it. Like there's a famous story. One time the child is crying. The child was really something happened, the child got hurt and the child was crying, Mama, Mama, help me. And he's crying and he's in pain and he's crying and Mama comes and gives him laddu. It's like a sweet, nice sweet, which everyone likes, laddu, gulab jamun. And he's very happy, he's excited. And 2 days later, he starts to make a shallow cry. Because he knows if he cries, Mama will come and give him laddu. So he makes a false cry. Mama, Mama, help me. Then Mom doesn't come. And after some time, when he meets the mother, he said, why you didn't come? The other day you came on my first cry. This time, I did overtime. Crying, I did overtime. You still didn't come. And the mother said, last time you were calling for mother, oh mother. But this time you were calling for oh laddu. So we should also reflect upon during our chanting, what are we calling? Whom are we calling? Are we calling really our eternal mother, father, well-wisher to please come and uplift us, purify us, and give us Krishna's pure love? Or are we calling, oh Krishna, somehow let me pass in the exam, Krishna, somehow let me get a good home, somehow I'm struggling with my job, Krishna, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa. Oh, I should not have any issues in my work. Hare Bol, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare. My neighbor is always bothering me. When will he stop bothering me? Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Ram, 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 Hare. Right? So are we really calling Krishna or are we really calling laddu? It could be laddu, it could be car, it could be job, it could be this, it could be that. Krishna, my child is struggling with this science exam. Make him pass, please. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I mean, certainly better than not calling, but why don't we call him the pure way, which he will answer very fast if we try to call. I know it's not easy to be attentive while chanting because mind is so fickle, but let's keep trying. Let's keep trying. The mind will try to run. The mind will throw different tantrums. The mind, the different trishnas will come. Different lobhas will come. But if we keep trying, then Krishna will also reciprocate. Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts, comments anyone has?
I'll just say very briefly, in my experience, those finite sense pleasures are so fleeting and shallow, and that most infinite that we call to, it never does get old. And I think that therein lies the difference that is enchanting to me and so pleasurable. And what inspires so much devotion in me is that Krishna is the one thing that we can never really get enough of. You know, if you travel to some place that's new and foreign and exciting, the first time it's awesome, the second time it's okay, the third time you're like, I've been here 3 times, I don't really want to go again. But we always want to call to Krishna, and it never stops being beautiful. Thank you.
Wow, that was nectar. That was pure nectar. Thank you for sharing your realizations. That is so true. Again, quoting His Grace Nityaṁ Prabhu, whom I recently got a chance to hear. What is the difference between material pleasure and spiritual pleasure? As you rightly mentioned, material pleasure, the first time we get it, it seems, oh, very nice. Let's say someone got a 20% raise in their job. Wow, very nice, very excited, they may go for a vacation, they may spend something, get a new gadget, or very happy. But after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, that's a new norm, right? That new salary does not excite them, correct? Same with the home, same with the new car. First time they drive it, oh wow, it has this feature, that feature. Oh, I didn't know about this. And 2 months, there's no happiness, right? So as you said rightly, same with place, same with work, same with anything which is on the, Bhagavad Gita mentions this. Yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yoneva evate adi antvantu konteya nati shuramate buddha. The pleasures derived from the interaction of senses, I, me, mind, body, etc., have adi and anta. That means beginning and end. They do not give pleasure. So intelligent people, the Buddha, nateshu ramate Buddha, the intelligent people, they do not wander in such pleasures. Why? Why do I take part in those pleasures which have a beginning and end? Why don't I take part? So what do the intelligent people do? Where do they wander? Machchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They do raman, they wander, they take pleasure in Krishna, as Philip Prabhu is sharing from his own experiential knowledge. This is not some blind faith. This can be experienced. Pratyakshavāgamam dharmyam. Susukham. This is very joyful process which one can experience oneself. Bhakti is so joyful. And that pleasure, so the spiritual pleasure, I've been using, one thing which I learned from my recent training and I shared in the kids class also, that I'm going to use more whiteboards because I really like, the recent class of Chaitanya Prabhu also inspired me to use more whiteboards. So I'm going to try to use it. So this is material pleasure, Let's say we want to get something. Right now we are here, right? And we want to get till this point, right? We get to this point, that becomes a new norm, and suddenly then our emotional or happiness quotient keeps dropping. And then we may, let's say this was new home. Then we may get, oh, I want to get a new car. Then we can get to that point. So it suddenly then drops. It's not even like this. It's more like this and drops. and then keeps going, and then something new. And then again drops after a few days. This is material life. But what is spiritual life? Spiritual life he compared to more like it's a new peak every time. We cannot even relate it, because people say, oh, the joy can only be experienced when we have some sorrow. Many people say like that, because we don't even have some idea of spiritual happiness. Spiritual happiness is ever increasing. So let's say someone is at this place experiencing joy, and then someone aspires for more bhakti, more devotion, then reaches newer height, then tries for more, reaches newer height. So it's every time it's a new peak. It doesn't go down, and it keeps increasing. This is spiritual life. We may not even have a conception of this at this point, but this is what the acharyas are explaining. And not just explaining, but also experiencing. Hare Krishna. And Philip Prabhu just mentioned the same thing in his own words. Any other thoughts? Thank you, Philip Prabhu.
Yeah, that was amazing. That chart you just drew. In our ignorance, the Rajasic mind confuses the experience, the dualistic experience of tension and release as happiness. And in ignorance, we think that tension and release in the mind is happiness. But true happiness is the ever rising summit that you drew on the right side, the infinite spiritual happiness. Thank you.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada gives that example of a person. Let's say there's a person who, there are 2-3 strong people are holding his head, right? Just imagine I'm that person. And 2-3 strong, heavy, macho man people are holding my head. And there's a big bucket full of water, and they dunk my head to torture me for whatever punishment they want to give me. To torture me, they just put my head in that full of water. And of course, how will I feel? I'll feel miserable. I'm breathless. I'm waiting, I'm gasping for a breath, right? I am so miserable inside the water, because that's not my natural place. I'm not in the fish body. I'm in the human body. That's not my natural place to be in the water. So I want to get out. And after 1 minute, I'm really, really in need of a breath. And after 1 minute, they take me out and say, how are you feeling? I feel so wonderful. Oh, this is bliss. But is that real bliss? In material world, absence of suffering is considered as bliss. Interestingly, my wife was reading me an article today. And she was reading an article, which is the happiest country, and the research says Finland. Okay, and then they said why Finland is the happiest country. They had like 5 points. One of them was that they are not artificial about their emotions. For example, if I ask anyone, or we ask anyone, if I say, hey, how are you? Everyone, oh, I'm fine, how are you? Right? That will be a standard 99% response. But they mentioned that we should be genuine. That basically is leading to artificial behavior, right? Someone may have his leg broken and say, oh, I'm fine, right? Someone may have lost a job, oh, I'm fine, right? Someone will have his kid may be seriously ill, and oh, I'm fine. It's not really fine. And these are just material problems. What to speak on a spiritual level? Prabhupada said, you should write a book. I am okay, you are not okay. Right? So there was a book written by someone at some point in the past when Prabhupada was there. I am okay, you are okay. Prabhupada said, no, write a book. I am okay, you're not okay. When we identify I'm not okay, then we'll work towards a solution. Ignorance of problem doesn't solve the problem. So thank you. It was wonderful. Okay, I think we have time to read one more, so we'll go ahead and read the 3rd verse. Anyone feeling inspired to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Sure. Hare Krishna, everyone. Text 3. Despasyanta Pashuna Gopa Krishna Rama Daya Stada Jata Nutapa Na Vidhu Virjit Navanto Gawa Gatim. Translation. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Not seeing the cows before them, Krishna, Rama, and their cowherd friends suddenly felt repentant for having neglected them. The boys searched all around, but could not discover where they had gone. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Premataji, for reading this nice verse. So, te pashyantaha. Te means they, plural. They means Krishna, Rama. Ram is Balaram, basically the elder brother of Krishna. And Philip Prabhu, just to give you the context, these are all the Gopa friends, the cowherd friends of Krishna and Balaram. Because Krishna, the Supreme Lord, enjoys with his associates in multiple flavors or rasas, as a friend, as a son, as a child, as a master. And he likes these rasas, these flavors more, right? Of friendship and others, more than someone always saying, hey, oh God, you are great, I am full, you are master, I am servant. He likes more equal rasas, where his friends even, ride on his back and stuff like that, because the Supreme God. So, te pashyanta pashun gopaha, when they apashyanta, pashyanta means to see, apashyanta, when they did not see, the opposite of seeing, and then did not see their pashus, their animals, referring to the cows, the buffaloes, the goats, etc. All the animals, where were they? They had gone deep, dura. Why? Trinalobhena. So, now if you go back to this whiteboard again. So what happens? We are, consider these as different animals. So Krishna is here. Balram is here, our eternal father, eternal mother, eternal guru. And we are near Krishna Balaram, right? We are near Krishna Balaram. But over here are tempting grasses, Trinalobhena. Here they are tempting grasses. We can name these grasses at whatever we want, as we discussed. It could be, dollar, fame, cars, home, prestige, tempting grasses, right? And what they take us, basically, this takes us away from Krishna. And what happens? We think, oh, that looks very relishable, that looks very enjoyable, and then we turn our face away from Krishna. And then we turn our face toward those grasses, which is basically Maya, or illusion, one which is not. Is Krishna happy about it? So we have become Bahirmukh, or we have turned our face in this direction towards Maya. But Krishna is still concerned. Krishna is still concerned. He is still looking for us. He is still thinking, oh, my child is suffering there. He still makes different arrangements to bring us back. He is, one of the names of the Supreme Lord is one who's always thinking of the well-wishers of his dependents. That is all of us, like an ideal father. Even if the child does something wrong, will the father just, hey, oh, you lied to me, or you did something bad at school, never show your face to me and never return? Will any great father say that? No. There is endless room to forgive and forget and to continue to love, right? Even if the child makes a very big mistake, will the father say, hey, never show your face or never come back to the home? No. So even if the cows, the pashus did a mistake by getting attached to the greed and the temptations of the alluring grasses, but still, look at this verse now. Krishna is feeling remorse. Wow. Jat anu tapaha. That's the word used here. Krishna is feeling remorse. Krishna is really concerned. This is the compassion of the Supreme Lord and of great souls like Srila Prabhupada. Why did Srila Prabhupada come to this foreign land at the age of 70 years? He was happy in Vrindavan. He had everything. He's a pure devotee. He had good association, good deities, good environment, good prasad, good everything. Why did he took all the pain? Talking about that, let me share some of the pains Prabhupada took by taking you to Chippiwara, where also we went. The Chippiwara temple, I want to show you the Chippiwara temple. I hope you can. Oh yes, finally got it. Is it okay? I mean, many of you asked me to please share the places I went to. I did share on Facebook, but still, this is like face-to-face kind of. This is ISKCON Chippiwara. This is a place where Prabhupada used to come multiple times. These are the deities, Shri Radha Vallabha. Prabhupada personally worshipped them. These are very old deities. Prabhupada did their worship. And this is the place where Prabhupada lived for, like, he was maintaining parallel quarters in Vrindavan and Delhi. And Delhi is the place where near Jama Masjid, near Red Fort, not a very like great area by material situation, but of course it's transcendental by spiritual calculation. This is Prabhupada's harmonium from that time. This is the place where Prabhupada used to lean on this. This is like the temple top, and Prabhupada would lean and write and translate his books. So much pain. This is Prabhupada's room in Chippiwara. These are some of his writings. Yeah, you see this picture, Prabhupada leaning on that temple dome. Corona is a typewriter name. Prabhupada used the Corona typewriter. It will kill all the infection of this world if you read Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. This is a small video. This is the place where Prabhupada would lean and write, like a backrest kind of. It's interesting. It's offering obeisance. Corona typewriters. These are all the pictures from Chippiwara temple. This is the latch Prabhupada used to use. I just have to click a picture there. Prabhupada's passport. Some other pictures. This is the picture Prabhupada sitting inside the room at the Radha Krishna temple, Chippiwara, Old Delhi, before he came to America. Yeah, this was the place where Prabhupada used to come to print his books. I forgot the gentleman's name who would help Prabhupada. Yeah, this photo is very interesting. You see, Prabhupada is actually in a bar where people are drinking alcohol, but Prabhupada is talking about his books. This was also near the Red Fort area, Jama Masjid area. So much pain he undertook. Now, why? These people have forgotten. They're like this. In this case, Tirna is the liquor here. They're busy enjoying liquor. But great souls are so compassionate. They cannot see why our children, because Vasudeva Kutumbakam, they see everyone as their child. Why are the people suffering? Because of temporary, illusory liquor or money or this or that. They take all the trouble. So Krishna is is here remorseful. Krishna here is jat anutapa, feeling remorse. And what did they do? They started to search out the boys. So Krishna and the Guru and his representatives are searching. They are searching for the souls who are running, who have forgotten their goal, who have forgotten their real aim. And therefore, that's the main purpose of ISKCON, to not just be Krishna conscious, but share Krishna consciousness as well, right? So this is what we can learn from these texts today, how Krishna is so compassionate, how Krishna is Kripa Sindhu, Karuna Sindhu, the ocean of mercy, ocean of compassion. And same applies to great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada. That was the main reason he came here, not to get money, not to get visa, not to get green card, not to beg for employment, but to give unalloyed Krishna prem, to remind us of what is our real goal in life. Hare Krishna. It's almost 9 p.m. So any other thoughts before we pause? Any comments, corrections, reflections?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for coming back and sharing the nectar, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing all those pictures. Literally, it feels like we are in Delhi and that area. Thank you for sharing, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Prabhuji. Very nice, very nice. Just today you shared the nectar, Prabhuji, and first time we seeing those pictures of Prabhupada's Leelas, Prabhupada's activities for doing to spread the Krishna consciousness. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Very well. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for your continuous dedication and regular reading of Bhagavatam. This is very, very praiseworthy for our own good and for the good of the whole world. So we'll continue to do it tomorrow at same time. Grantraj Bhagavatam Purana ki jai, Guru Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktarinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavesha Namo. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Dandavat Pranam, devotees. Thank you.